Anytime a new Mortal Kombat game is set to release, I like to go back and play my favorite one out of the entire series, which is Deception. However, recently I began thinking, what was it about Deception that really made it fun? It couldn't have been the fighting because, I mean, look at this. I can get out of my wheelchair and run 3 laps around the neighborhood by the time the recovery's done. But, with the question still lingering on my mind, I've decided to set out on a perilous journey to figure out why I love Deception so much. I think a great place to start would be the roster. Deception introduced to us a few cool characters such as Ashra, or if you're my uncle, Assrash, a demon who seeks to cleanse her soul by killing other demons so that she may escape the nether realm. Onada the Dragon King, former ruler of Outworld before having his drink spiked with OxyClean by Shao Kahn, taught about getting rid of tough stains in Outworld. And of course, we can't forget about the best character introduced during this time that I believe should be in every game going forward. Zombie Liu Kang. And Havoc. I remember when my cousins were showcasing Deception off to me for the first time. They were like, dude, this guy's got chop arms. Meanwhile, Havoc was in the corner putting contortionists out of business. How could I not like a character that makes fun of my disability while shooting projectiles out of his hands? Hell, even his costume was clean. It reminds me of those times I would wear a hoodie as a kid to look really cool, edgy, and mysterious. When in reality, I just looked like a moody baby who got his Legos taken away. Speaking of costumes, we cannot talk about Deception without talking about the best one in the entire game. I am talking about Sub-Zero. Our man came out here balling with the Shredder cosplay helmet, the Super Mario Womp strapped to the arms, and we cannot forget about the Tims in charcoal black, and then you have the alternate. Ashra with the all white and gold really brings out the I'm trying to escape hell from her eyes. Hotaru's alternate really liked the armor, didn't like that he had flag twirling practice after each match. Also, the helmet was kinda cool. And of course, Zombie Liu Kang. But wait, I hear you say in your own head. Surely a few characters and some costumes can't justify this being the best game in the franchise. And to that I say, of course not. Where the hell are the fighters gonna fight at? If you asked me to name an original stage for Mortal Kombat post-Armageddon, I'd probably be more blank than a freshly bought notebook. But Deception, on the other hand, one of us is going off the top of Sky Temple. Someone is grabbing the weapon out of Chamber of Artifacts. And you better believe we are having a game of volleyball in the Netherrealm interior ship. One stage in particular, the Lower Mines, used to really scare me as a kid, so much so that I would back out of the match anytime I was forced to fight in it. I'm telling you, I did not fuck with this giant rock crusher in the back. Just staring at you, look at him. Opening and closing. However, whenever I'm thinking about a stage, the first thing that comes to mind isn't what it looked like, but rather what it sounded like. And maybe it's just me, but I think Midway put their entire music team in a kitchen because, damn, were they cooking. Now sure, there were some visually memorable maps like Yin Yang Island, you know, palm trees turning into snakes, coconuts turning into skulls, or Dark Prison, where a bunch of characters are all locked up watching you and your friend fight each other to the death. But are you really going to remember General Reiko locked up in a prison cell? Or will you remember the slap banger that came out of Chamber of Artifacts? Or maybe you want something a little bit more heavy. Have you tried Slaughterhouse Jive? Or maybe you'd like to join me in a game of tetherball in the Netherrealm interior ship. And don't get me started with this. Oh yeah, no more friendly matches from this point forward. Seriously, what the hell was going on with falling cliffs and everyone that fought on there? You could be having a very friendly match with your friends or siblings or whoever, and then when this stage loads up, everyone is just a pro player. Now all of a sudden, you and your friend are jumping over each other. You are both reading each other harder than your mom used to read a magazine in the doctor's office. Or the back of a Walmart line. And if you didn't know how to activate breakers then, well, congrats. It's now second nature. I remember my cousins and I always doing these exact same things for one reason and one reason only. We sure as hell was not about to drop off the cliff and lose like that. Anytime a match started in this, the goal was no longer to deplete your enemy's health bar. It is now a war of attrition. Who will last longer in the stage? It was never me. But you know what else is falling? Blocks. Would you believe me if I said Mortal Kombat had side content that wasn't related to just fighting? I know, it's crazy. Yeah, for some odd reason, Midway made a side mode called Puzzle Combat, where you're basically just stacking a bunch of the same colored blocks together and then connecting said blocks with the same colored coin. Landing a bomb on the specific color will wipe out the entire color from your side, freeing up more space. And you're also only given a handful of the main roster from the game to play with. However, all of the characters come equipped with their own very special moves, some ranging from OK to Cabal. Overall, this mode was very sweet, small, short, simple, and very entertaining if you want to pass some time. But, however, Puzzle Combat was just the appetizer to this 3-course meal, because what comes next is the entree, Chess Combat. Now you too can beat your opponent in 6 moves or less. This is just chess with arrogance. I'm taking your piece. Like hell you are. Instead of the regular chess pieces that you're used to, you're instead given a leader, a champion, sorcerer, shifter, and a grunt. Grunts being the replacement for pawns. Shifters are the sort of replacement for knights. Instead of fighting as the character you picked to be the shifter, you actually fight who you are trying to take down. Champions are your queen replacements. They can go pretty much anywhere, everywhere, however far, if they're allowed to. They have a lot of health. That's basically it. And the leader is pretty much the same, except not as much health. And last but not least, the most important piece of all, the sorcerers. On one hand, they can heal, protect, and teleport other pieces away from danger. On the other hand, it's always the most fun just holding on to the kill spell until someone revives another piece, and then you just fucking re-kill. Aside of the kill spell, we have other timeless classes such as Sacrifice, Imprison, and probably the most broken one out of all of them, Exchange. Now, of course, there are some drawbacks. If you do end up losing one of your sorcerers, you also lose said spells that come with that sorcerer. And we just can't forget about setting traps. Yeah, before the match actually starts, you and your opponent are given about 30 seconds, give or take, to put down a few traps around the board on each side. They're invisible, so you will never know if you're stepping onto a trap or not. They even give you a fake trap button to fool your opponent into thinking you put down an actual trap. Overall, one of the best modes Mortal Kombat has ever had in its franchise, and I'd give it a chess combat out of 10. But I think it's time we talk about the main course. Wait. What's that? Oh my god, your mom told the waiter that it's your birthday. While you were in the bathroom while I got the cutting. Now, popular to contrary belief, I actually wanted to talk about the crypt before moving on to the big one. So bear with me for a moment. The crypt, it's kind of scary. In fact, I'll go out on a ledge and say, this is the scariest crypt. A little over-exaggeration, don't you think? Now, for the uninitiated, the crypt was introduced way back in 2002 with the release of Deadly Alliance. This was our early years of loot boxes. You bring your coin purse full of cryptocurrency and spend it on whatever you think might have the best items. The only difference is that this time you have 6 different colored coins to play with. I kinda miss these. Unlocks would include anything from characters and alternate costumes down to concept art and even pictures of the production team. But what makes this the scarier crypt, you may ask? Well, to me it's the atmosphere. Seriously, listen to this. And for comparison, here's Deadly Alliance. You see, Deadly Alliance kinda has this droning sound going on that I feel takes away from the atmosphere, whereas Deception kinda drops the whole droning sound and kinda replaces it with more creepy sound effects to just play in the background. Not to mention characters moving back and forth and up and down, disappearing behind tombstones or reappearing behind tombstones to try to sell you something.
Talking shungite.
Either way, going in here as a kid had me super nervous and scared. But hey, at least the rewards are worth it. 2,400 coins to grave rob. Well, at least I know a place we can go to get some more coins. Oh, Conquest Mode. The one thing that unites all Mortal Kombat players when talking about the old games. Now, I'll be the first to tell you that this mode was big. Really big. A certified Earthrealm classic. And there's a reason why it gets such high praise even today. Wanna walk around Earthrealm picking up coins and helping out the villagers? Go for it.
Oh, my heart! Leave me be, murderer!
Wanna meander around Outworld until you receive empty threats from Shao Kahn for punching him? You can do that.
You are playing with death, foolish one.
Netherrealm?
Keep away, mortal.
Yeah, Midway really came out of nowhere with 6 whole realms and told us, have fun, and let us just explore the entire thing. While exploring, you'll find coins that just kind of poof into thin air in front of you as you're running from your points. You'll find chests that hold a large amount of coins, or keys that unlock specific coffins in the crypt. Even characters from the main roster will appear from time to time and then make like my ability to walk and disappear. You can also beat up civilians.
Hi.
No, shit. Please don't talk to me like that. Yeah, the voice acting's a little, out there.
Of Earthrealm.
Train me personally? I would be honored.
But hey, at least some of the characters can talk in reverse.
Long ago, the Elder Gods shattered the one being with the 6 Kami Toku.
Now it's only fair that we remember that this Conquest mode is just a larger version of a tutorial mode. You run from point A to point B to learn how to play as this character, get into a fight maybe once or twice, and then you start over. But hey, at least the soundtrack is nice when you're running from point A to point B. Unless you're in the Netherrealm. Yeah, I don't know what it was, but the music was just so beautifully crafted in a way that it's not all in your ears, but it's all just kind of there. I can't tell you how many times I've almost fallen asleep listening to the Earthrealm track. And that's really about it for Conquest, an open world action RPG whose missions are just a bunch of tutorials on how to play a bunch of different characters, which to me doesn't really make sense because the character you play as, Shijinko, will go the entire game fighting as everybody else, but when you start to use him in like a regular arcade ladder, he has his own style. But nonetheless, having a bunch of realms that you can explore at your leisure, and having the nice soundtrack beside it, it really does make the Conquest mode that much more memorable to me. And that's it for Deception. As a cripple, I don't really like diving deep as some other people do, but I figured I'd talk about Deception anyways because I really like Deception and Mortal Kombat in general. Now the game does have some issues, some that I've probably neglected to talk about, and it does feel a little clunky to play compared to what we have today. But with everything that we've talked about, from the rosters to the character designs all the way to the new side content, this game still hits harder than the surgeon hitting my spinal cord.